So, good morning, everyone. Today we will continue with the classification of the signals. Uh, the next type of signal categories are either energy signals or power signals. So, a signal that has finite energy is regarded as the energy signal, whereas a signal which has got finite and non-zero power, it is regarded as the power signal. Okay, the energy of the continuous time signals, they can be calculated using E equals to integration of minus infinity to infinity modulus of xt square dt. Okay, whereas the power, it can be calculated using this second formula, limit capital T, where capital T tends to the period of the period this time period of the periodic signals. Okay, so 1 by t integration of minus t by t 2 to t by 2 modulus of xt square dt. Okay, so using this formula we can get the power. So energy, it is in joules, and the power, it is in watts. Okay, on the contrary, if you look into the discrete time signals or even the digital signals, the energy is calculated by this equation, uh, capital E equals to summation of n equals to minus infinity to infinity modulus of xn square, whereas power, it is calculated by this equation, limit capital N tending to infinity 1 by 2 n plus 1 summation of n equals to minus n to capital N uh, modulus of xn square. Okay, again here the units are joules and watts. Now, what is the difference between the energy signal and the power signal? For energy signal, the total normalized energy is finite and non-zero, whereas in power signal, the normalized power is finite and non-zero. Okay, in energy signal, energy is finite. In power signal, power is finite. Energy signals, aperiodic signals, they are usually energy signals. Okay, and periodic signals, they are power signals. And hence, if you see in this equation, where we have capital T, which is basically the time period, and similarly in this discrete time, this capital N, it is the time period uh, of the periodic signals. Then energy signals, one of the important criteria is that they are time limited. That means they should be present in a specific period of time. Okay, under that condition you can integrate in the region of minus infinity to infinity. Otherwise, if it is never ending, no, it is a continuous time signal and it is continuing to infinity. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Actually, there was a power fluctuation, so I thought there might be a power cut. Okay. Anyway, so in energy signals, this as we are integrating the signal with respect to time from minus infinity to infinity, if it is not a finite signal or the time limited signal, then the signal, the integration, it will give us an infinity. Okay, so that is for that reason, these energy signals, they are time limited signals. Okay, now whereas in power signals, these signals can exist over infinite time. Okay, so because of this reason, if you look into the integration, we are taking some finite time, and within that finite time we are doing the calculation or the integration. Okay. Similarly, the summations also in the discrete time domain. So since we are taking only a particular portion of the signal and then integrating or summing up, because of that reason the power signals, they may exist for an infinite time. And lastly, power of energy signal is zero, whereas energy of power signal is infinite. So from here what we get is that for energy signal we have energy as finite and non-zero, and power is zero. Okay. On the other hand, in the power signals, energy is zero, the energy is infinite, sorry, and power is finite and non-zero. So this two criteria you need to remember. Okay. So for energy signal, energy is finite and non-zero, and power becomes zero, whereas in power signals, energy is infinite and power is finite and non-zero. And any signals which do not fall either in these two categories, category 1 that is the energy signal and category 2 that is the power signals, they are classified as neither energy nor power signals. Okay. So if you look over here, we have just written this rule. For energy signal, energy is finite and P is power is zero, and for power signal, power is finite and energy is infinite. Okay. So let's take up some example. Say for example, xn equals to a delta n. So if we break it down, it comes out to be a for n equals to 0 and 0 for n not equal to 0. This we have already discussed yesterday. Now what is this? If you see, the amplitude is present only at n equals to 0, and all other values of n there is no values of xn. Okay, that means if we look over here, this is an energy signal. Okay, so energy is equal to summation of n equals to 0 to 0 a square, because minus infinity to infinity, in all other n values we are having the value of 0. So only at n equals to 0 we have the summation. So 0 to 0 a square, that means it is a square, and it is an if a is finite, it is a finite number, then energy is also finite. So it is an energy signal. Then xn equals to un. So un, as we all know, that from starting to 0, n increases to till infinity, we are having some values of this thing. So what it is having? We are having a infinite series, so energy would be infinite over here, right? So we need to find out the power of the signal. The power of the signal is limit n tending to infinity 1 by 2n summation of n equals to 0 to capital N 1. What is the value of this signal? The value is 1. Okay. Now this part, it can be written as summation of n equals to 0 to n 1. It is represented as capital N plus 1. So this equation turns out to be P equals to limit capital N tending to infinity capital N plus 1 divided by 2n plus 1. So limit capital N tending to infinity, if we take n common, so we get 1 plus 1 by n and divided by n multiplied by 2 plus 1 by n. So this and cancels out. So we if we put this value of n, this limit n capital N tending to infinity over here, so this 1 by infinity, it becomes 0, this 1 by infinity, it becomes 0. So our power, it comes out to be half. So our power is finite and energy is infinite, so it meets the second criteria. So x equal to un, it is a power signal. Then xn equals to ramp n. So in ramp n, if you see, as n increases, with n, whatever is the value of n, the amplitude value assumes the value of n. So at n equals to 0, the value of ramp n is 0. At n equals to 1, the value becomes 1. At n is equals to 2, the values becomes 2, and so on. So it is an infinite series. So xn equals to n for n greater than equal to 0 and 0 for n less than 0. So it is a right-handed signal. Okay. So E equals to energy equals to limit capital N tending to 0 summation of n equals to 0 to n square. So this term summation of n equals to 0 to capital N square, if you solve it, it comes out to be capital N plus 1, 2n plus 1 divided by 6. So we are replacing it over here. Now if you replace this n values with infinity over here, the energy comes out to be infinity. Now let's check for the power limit n tending to infinite, 1 by 2n plus 1 summation of n equals to 0 n square. Again we replace this value, so we get 2n plus 1 and 2n plus 1, this cancels out, and we are left with n multiplied by n plus 1 by 6. And if we replace the value of capital N with infinity, so we get power equals to infinity. Now if you see, it is not an energy signal nor a power signal. So as I told you previously, that there might be some categories of signal which may not be classified either as energy signal or as power signals. Okay. Then let's take the next example. Xn equals to cos of pi by 2n. So power equals to limit capital N tending to infinity 1 by 2n plus 1 summation of n equals to minus n to n cos square pi by 2n. Now this cos square pi by 2n, we can write it in this fashion: cos square theta equals to 1 by 2 1 plus cos 2 theta. So we have replaced it in this fashion. Now cos pi n, summation of n equals to minus n to n cos pi n, it is having a value of 0. So if we replace it, we get this component over here. So it comes out to be this. And then if we take half common, so we get limit n equals to infinity 1 by 2n plus 1 summation of n equals to minus n to capital N 1. Okay. Now if you solve this equation, it comes out to be 2n plus 1. Okay, so when you replace it, this cancels out, and this is equal to 1 by 2. So the power is finite and non-zero, whereas we discussed previously that the cos signal, it is basically a periodic signal, and it continues from minus infinity to infinity. The energy would definitely be infinite. So this signal, it is a power signal. Okay. Now coming to the next type of the signal, causal, non-causal and anti-causal signals. So let us take this time axis n. Causal signal, any signal. Okay, so before that, this is the origin. Okay, so this axis is either t or n. Now this origin, it is basically the present value. Okay, and the values on the right hand sides are future values, and the values on the left hand sides are past values. Causal means due to a cause, either in the present or in the past. So the action will be in the future. So the causal signals, they are present from n equals to 0 to infinity. So we can write it down as n greater than equal to 0. For causal signals, the signals will be having amplitude values at n greater than equal to 0. In non-causal, so it will start before 0 and it will continue in the future also. Okay, so it will be having a value not only at n greater than equal to 0 but also n greater than equal to of some negative a values, where a is a real number. So if we consider this as negative a, so any values which is starting um, uh, uh, which is starting earlier than the present value, then it is called non-causal signal. Okay, and anti-causal is just the opposite of the causal, but in the opposite side. That means it will be present in the left hand side. So herein we can have n less than 0. Okay, so the anti-causal signals, they will be present at n less than 0. Okay, so this is what it has been given. So a signal that does not start before t equals to 0 is causal signal. In other words, xt is causal if xt equals to 0 for t less than 0. A signal that starts before t equals to 0, it is a non-causal signal. And lastly, a signal that is 0 for all t greater than equal to 0, it is anti-causal signal. Okay. Now there are some, with this we complete all the types of signals. Okay. Now next, let us go to the next type of next topic within this chapter, that is the useful signal operations. There are certain signal operations which are needed, which if we want to do some signal processing stuffs. Okay, and these are the basic signal operations. The first one is the time shifting, second is time scaling, third is time inversion or time reversal. Okay, all these three, they are regarded as the primary operations. Okay, and lastly, it is the combined operations. It is basically a combination of primary operations. Now let's take up one by one. Time shifting. Okay, so you are shifting the time. Okay, now if you see ft being shifted to t minus a. Okay, when we talk about t minus a, it will be shifted by a units towards the right hand side, and this signal is called this operation, it is called delaying. Okay, see, the suppose this signal was starting at this origin from here, now it is being shifted by a time units and it will be starting at a starting at a future value. Okay, so this is called delaying of the signal. Okay, on the contrary, we have advancing of the signal. If you see hearing, the A has been shifted to the left hand side. That means it is starting at an earlier time period. The signal is starting at an earlier time period. Okay, so many a times people, students confuse between these two. So the best way to remember is that you remember f of t minus a, it is delaying. Okay. On the contrary, f of t plus a, which is basically the advancing, it can be written as f of t minus of minus a. Okay. So you are delaying in the negative half. On the right hand half, we are having basically positive values, and when we are delaying by a negative value, that means we are advancing. So you need to keep this in mind. Okay. Now let's take up an example to have an understanding over here. So Fn equals to, let us take this example, Fn equals to 1 3 5 4 3 2 5 1 2. Okay. Now n minus 2, f of n minus t, how we will get the value? We will move this pivot towards the left. Okay. Why? If you see from the origin, now this signal, this origin value, it is starting at on the right hand side. Okay. So even if you see, I am telling that we need to move the signal towards the right hand side to get the delayed value. Okay. Herein, while we are doing the numericals, you need to remember the shifting of the signal to the right hand side can be done by moving the pivot, which gives us the value of the origin on the left hand side, on the opposite side. If we have to move the signal towards the right hand side, we have to move the pivot on the left hand side. Okay. On the contrary, if you look for the case f of n plus 2, for f of n plus 2 means we need to advance the signal, so we have to move the pivot towards the right hand side. So when we move this pivot towards the right hand side, the origin value in the original signal, it has moved to the negative n values. Okay, moved to the negative n values, right? Similarly, if you see, if you get this kind of signal 1 3 5, this thing, now for n minus 2, you need to move the pivots 2 places on the left. So there are no other signal components on the left, so you have to represent the signal in this fashion. So this is f of n minus 2. And this is the original signal f of n. This is f of n minus 2. So if you see 1 3 5 and 4 3 2 5 1 2. Okay, this original signals, see. So initially this 3 value, it was starting at origin. Now this amplitude value of 3, it has moved towards the right. Okay. Similarly, we can see a similar value in the f of n plus 2 graph. Okay. Any doubt? I hope it is clear to all of you.
Clear, sir.
Okay. Good. Now time scaling. Now in time scaling, we have ft being replaced with f of at. So even though there is a multiplication over here, if you see, this is the original signal. Okay. Now this one is f of at. Now when we are multiplying with a real number at, where a is greater than equal to 1, greater than 1, sorry. then you see there is a compression of the signal within the time axis. It is starting at the same reference point, but the signal is being completed within a short period of time. You can take the example of video recordings or any movie. If you want to play the movie in the fast forward uh, mode, then if you play the movie in the 2 times, then what will happen? Suppose your original movie at 1x it is taking 1 hour, so in the 2x forwarding, so what you will be having, the movie will be completed in 30 minutes, right? Similarly, over here in the signal, if you multiply it with any values greater than 1, the signal will be compressed accordingly. Okay, so this is called shrinking of the signal. This is called the shrinking of the signal. And the next one is f of t. It is being transformed into f of t by a. So this becomes 0.5, say 1 by a, it becomes a decimal fraction, that means less than 1. Okay, so in that case what will happen, if you play a movie at 0.5x, so this 1 hour movie, it will take 2 hours time to be played. So if you see here, the time which has been taken by the signal to be completed, it has been expanded, and hence it is called stretching of the signal. Sorry, STRATCH, stretching of the signal. Okay. Now, next is time inversion. Time inversion is nothing but across this origin point, we need to flip the signal. So if you see, if you consider this one as the original signal, then we have the flipped signal f of minus of t. Yeah, so this example it has been misplaced. So this is for the time scaling. Okay. So in the time scaling, consider that we have this example 3 4 5 3, where it is the origin 2 1 0 5. Okay. Now let us plot, or let us calculate f of 2n. Now always remember that the value at origin, it always remain at origin. Okay, so 3 remains at origin. Now 2n, what is the physical significance? Let us calculate the values in the right hand side domain. So 2n's mean we will be taking the values after every one value. That means this 2 will be cancelled out. In f of 2n, the second value will come. Now again from this value, the second value, that means the 5, it will come over here. Similarly, in this case, this file, it will be it will not be whatever brought after. However, this 4 will be brought after, and again this 3, it will not be brought after. Okay, so our fn, f of 2n, it comes out to be 4315. Okay, 4315. Now if I say f of n by 2, then the signal at origin, it remains the same. So what will happen, in between we will include 0 values. In between the 2 values in the original signal, we will be having the 0 values. Okay, so these are the extra 0 values. So in these original signals, in between each of these values there will be an extra 0 which should be included. In case of f of n by 3, two numbers of zeros should be included. Okay, and so on. Now in case of time inversion, we just have to flip the signal. See, so 2105, it will come on the negative side. So if you see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. So the n for n equals to 1, it has now come to n equals to minus 1. For n equals to 2, the value has come to n equals to minus 2. And accordingly, the negative values, it has come to the positive n values. Okay. So this is time inversion. Now next is combined operations. In the combined operations, all the three types of operations are involved. Okay. So say for example, xn, it is being transformed into x of an minus b. So if you see this negative value, it is the delaying. Okay, then multiplying, it is the conversion. Okay, now if this scaling, sorry, not conversion, scaling, and then if this value of a is negative, it involves your inversion value, right? Now it can be performed by two ways. The first way is, initially the xt is time shifted by b, x of t minus b, time scaling, then followed by the time scaling by a, x of at minus b. And I prefer this first one because for me it is the easier way to do the numerical. But however, in your exams you can perform the same numerical. If I give you any numerical, you can perform the same numerical in this by the second method too. In the second method, what we do is that we initially do the time scaling by a. So x of at, it is being time shifted by x of at, by a, then time shifting of x of at by b by a. That means t is replaced with t minus of b by a. Then we, if you look into this, if we take this a common over here, then we get t minus of b by a. So it becomes x of at minus b. Okay. So if you take this a inside this bracket, so b minus a, it becomes basically b. B minus a multiplied by a, it becomes b. So you get this x of at minus b. And as I already said you, if a is negative, the time scaling involves time inversion. Okay. Now let us take an example. F of n, let us take this example 135423213. Okay, where 2 is at the origin. So let's calculate f of minus 2n minus 2. So initially what we will do, we will calculate f of n minus 2. We have seen pivot, we will be moving it to the left hand side. So from here we get here, right? 1 3 5 becomes the new origin, then 4 2 3 2 1 3. Okay, now f of 2n minus 2, f of 2n minus 2 means we are now scaling with a value of 2. Okay, what I said, after every value we will be eliminating one of the values. So see, 1 5, origin remains at origin, 2 2 and 3. It comes like this. Now I go for f of minus 2n minus 2. That means here we are having a time inversion. So we will go for the inversion. Okay. Similarly, we can go for this n plus 2. Plus 2 means this pivot value, it will move towards the right. If you have to calculate f of 2n plus 2, so the pivot value moves to the right. Then 2n plus 2, again these values will be decimated, and we get f of 2n plus 2 like this. Okay. Now if it is 0.5n plus 2, that means a less than 1. So we need to interlace these values, this value with the value of 0, right? So see, 1 0, then 3 3 0, then 5 5 0, then 4 0 2 0 3 0 2 0 1 0 3, right? So we need to interlace from the value of fn plus 2 with in 0.5 we need to interlace one value, because it is nothing but f of 0 f of 0.5 n by plus 2, it is nothing but n by 2 plus 2, right? So a equals to 2, then we have this interlacing of one values. Okay, and if it would have been 3, then we would have interlaced with two zeros. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear to all of you? Because this type
Yes,
of
sir.
inversions,
Yes, sir.
the scaling and unit operations, they are very important, and people they get confused. Since you are saying that, yeah, you guys understand, so I will be moving forward. Now let's discuss about some basic continuous time signals: unit step function, unit impulse functions, then complex exponential signals, and sinusoidal signals. These are some of the basic continuous time signals. Okay, let's see one by one how they look like. Unit step function, it is having ut equals to 1 for t greater than 0 and 0 for t less than 0. So if you see, you will be having this value. Now if uh, this we are having u of t minus 0, then there is a delay of this unit step function, okay, by a factor of t0. Then this unit step function, it starts at t0 and continues up to infinity. Unit impulse response, yesterday we have already discussed, not yesterday, a few days back we have already discussed, and it is regarded as the direct delta function. Okay, and it is only present at origin at n equals to 0. Okay, similar to our previous case where we have delayed the unit step function, here also we can delay it, so we can have delta t minus t0. Okay, in that case our unit impulse, it will be present at t0. Okay, now another important property of this unit impulse function is that if you multiply a particular value of say xn with this thing, with delta t minus t0, this t0 may be 0. If it is 0, then it becomes delta t. Okay, so this gives us the value of x of t minus t0. That means at whatever location our this impulse function is there, we get that value. Okay, so you can think of this impulse multiplier as a multiplier of 1 at that particular instance of time. Okay, so this property of the unit impulse has been taken, and there is a uh, uh, what do you call there is another type of signal, discrete signal, which is regarded as uh, impulse train delta t minus k, summation of k equals to 0 to infinity. Okay, so what it says is that, what this equation says is that we have these impulses at a particular value of k. Okay, now this is called impulse train. So suppose you have some value, some signal, continuous time signal, something like this, and if you multiply this impulse train with this signal, then you will be getting the signal x0, x1, x2, and so on. So this impulse train, it helps us to convert a continuous time signal into a discrete time signal. Okay, so unit impulse function, shifted unit impulse function. Sampling property, I just already told you, ft into delta t minus a, it will give you fa into delta t. So when a equals to 0, ft delta t equals to f0 delta t, because you are just getting this f0 value. Over here you are getting this fa value. That means at a particular instance of time, whatever, suppose um, you are having this signal over here. So if this is t0 and you are having this f of a at this location, then you will be getting the value of fa. Okay. So this is the proof for the sampling property. So you need not to go through this. Then shifting property, how we can shift the delta function. Then complex exponential signal. So it is regarded as e to the power j omega naught t, which can be broken down into cos omega naught t plus j sin omega naught t. So this type of functions, they are called complex exponential functions. Then this is the equation for the general exponential signals. Xt equals to e to the power st, e to the power sigma plus j omega t. So e to the power sigma t cos omega t plus j sin omega t. Okay, so this is the equation for the general complex exponential signal. Okay, then there are some real exponential where sigma, it is a real number, and then equation 1.35, it reduces to the real exponential values. That means this value, this j omega naught t value, it does not exist. So only we have x equal to e to the power sigma t. Okay, then it becomes the real exponential signals. Then we have sinusoidal signals. All of us know that uh, cos signals and the sine signals, they are the sinusoidal signals, and they have a fundamental frequency uh, f0 equals to 1 by t0 hertz, which comes, this t0 is nothing but the periodicity of the signal, t0 equal to 2 pi by omega naught. Okay, and this fundamental frequency, it can be written as omega naught equals to 2 pi f0 by combining these two equations. So this is a typical sinusoidal signal. Now similarly, just like the basic continuous time signals, we have basic discrete time signals where we have unit step sequence, unit impulse sequence, complex exponential sequences, and sinusoidal sequences. Here, if you see un, it is having a value of 1 for n greater than equal to 0. One important thing you need to remember is that here n is greater than equal to 0, where at n equals to 0 also there is a value. However, in the uh, continuous time unit step function, you have values at t greater than 0 and t less than 0. Okay. The rest of the things, it looks similar. So at n equals to 0, 1, 2, 3, you'll be having these values. Then unit impulse value like this. It is the delayed function. It will be delayed by a value of k. Now this xn equals to k of minus infinity to infinity xk delta n minus k. This equation, it is used for the sampling of the continuous time signal. Okay. Then complex exponential function, similar equations. However, if you see over here, we have omega naught by 2 pi equals to m by capital N, m equals to the positive integer. Okay. And n0 equals to m 2 pi by omega naught. And in our last class, we have seen there is a n value. If it is a rational number, it is basically, it would give us an indication whether it is a periodic signal or not a periodic signal. Then over here also you have general complex exponential sequences where c equals to alpha n, where this c and alpha, they are in general complex numbers. Okay. Note that this equation 1.25 is the special case of 1.57, where c is equal to 1 and alpha equals to a to the power j omega naught. Similarly, the real exponential sequences over here, if you see, if c and alpha are both real, then the xn is a real exponential sequence. Then the sinusoidal sequences, xn equals to a cos of omega n plus theta. Okay. So you can have either cos or sine also. Okay. So these are the sinusoidal sequences. So these are some of the exponential sequences when alpha is greater than 1. Sorry, yeah, alpha is greater than 1, alpha is less than 1. Alpha is less than in the range of 1 and 0. Then alpha in the range of 0 and minus 1, and lastly alpha less than minus 1. Okay. So with this, I conclude this signal section. The next section is the system. So I will not start the systems today because it is a long chapter and it will take some time. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know. Do you have any questions? No? Okay then.